this could either be silly or completely pointless, so we'll see how it goes.
Right.
Did you ever give your horse a funny name on Red Dead 2?
Yes.
What name did you give it?
Okay, so one of the daftest ones, I think, was I had like the really like bulky ones that I think they're Shire horses. Because I had like the loads of bonus content, I got this like grey Shire horse, and I was like, what the hell do I even call it? So I think I just ended up like, for some reason or other, I ended up naming it like after a rock because it just looked like a pebble.
You could have called it.
So I think I think it was called Pebble in the end.
Okay. Well, that's actually quite useful because I use the comedic logic as well, so that makes this even funnier. Do you remember the episode of Family Guy when Peter Griffin gets the horse that's all cross-eyed?
Oh, you didn't, did you?
Do you remember its name, Dan?
Not its name, I just remember what it goes by.
Till Death. And then when Till Death dies at the end of this game...
Peter, the horse is here. Honestly, I wish I'd thought of that now.
I completely forgot that that's what it was referenced to. It was actually Sarah that reminded us when I went back to play it again after several years.
God,
like,
I love that skit so much. Followed by Till Death, and then like it runs into a crowd of deaf people, and it's like, I can assure you they're signing as fast as their little hands can go.
Oh my god. And if you really thought that we were just going to introduce the first episode of 2026 in a perfectly normal fashion, you clearly haven't listened to an episode of the real podcast.
You haven't listened to like the other like 100 odd episodes we've done. We don't take things serious.
We really don't, because I ran out of insults to introduce Dan as, so there we go. But yes, welcome everyone to 2026. Last year was a year. We don't need to talk about it yet. We'll talk about it later in the month. This is our long-awaited episode on Red Dead Redemption 2 from 2018. Finally! Regan finished it last month. I've just about gotten over the tears. Then I finished the epilogues, and then more tears. This is just a stupid game. It's just stupid. It's just annoying, quite frankly. But yes, we're going to get into all things Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, I already delivered one spoiler with the fact that your horse dies, but then your horse can die at any point in the game, so that really means nothing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2, as I did really well to avoid up until the end of the year.
You really did, actually.
Like, imagine if I was like that for something like Doctor Who, of which I can't avoid spoilers, whereas this is actually quite easy to. I don't know why, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, most of the spoilers are just more or less from memes now than it is actual, like, spoiler content.
Of which you really had to hold off on until I actually finished the damn thing.
Oh, I had a absolute pile of memes just sitting there, waiting.
Yeah. But there we go. Let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. But obviously, to kick things off, because this isn't changing, Dan?
Yes, Regan?
This is called Red Dead Redemption 2, which suggests that this is a sequel to Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, it's not.
No, but yeah, it's not. Do you want to explain what the bloody hell's going on?
Well, yes, as you've kindly insinuated, despite it being called Red Dead Redemption 2, it is actually a prequel to the first Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption 0.5.
Yeah, like that's really what it should have been called, actually. Yeah. Well, anyway, so you are Arthur Morgan, a outlaw with the Vandalin gang, and basically after a botched robbery in Blackwater, the gang must evade the law by any means necessary, and the whole goal of this gang, led by Dutch Vandalin, is to get enough money to just disappear, to never ever have to worry about the law ever again. Naturally, that doesn't go well,
yes,
as we will discuss.
Yes, we will. There's going to be a few points where I am going to sound like we're talking about the first game, because the lead up to me playing this is basically exactly the same, in that when it was first announced and when it started getting promoted, I don't even remember watching any trailers, to be honest. I had no interest, which is surprising considering how much I loved that first game. So I legitimately have no reason as to why I was not interested. I did actually play it at the end of 2018. I did stubbornly decide, I'm going to get the Ultimate Edition, because I really think I'm going to play this.
So did you, just one day decide to go out and buy it? Because for me, it was a Christmas present, funnily enough.
I didn't have an Xbox that had a disc drive, so I had to get the digital version.
Right.
Which had less issues than you had more recently, in that I actually got everything I should have done. But I only played it, I think, for about half an hour. And then I stopped playing it.
Wow.
For 5, 6 and a bit years. Similar to what I said about the first game, and I think is what you presented as a negative for the first game, is I found it worse than Glacial in terms of pacing. It was too slow, to be honest. It was...
Okay.
It was very much, I think, how it was when I first started playing, weirdly, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, in that it is dense as hell at the very start, and it's really asking you to hang around. I promise.
I totally get why you'd compare it to that, and honestly, I do understand it, actually, because when you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that first bit is just really,
difficult.
Quite dull.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even call it dull. It's just, like I say, it's slow.
It's not really much excitement. Again, this is sort of what I said about the first Red Dead Redemption, that you've got all this build-up, and it's just well, you can't actually go after Bill yet. You've got to do this. But before you do that, you've got to do this thing before that thing. And before you do that thing, there's also another thing back there.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of things. There
is a lot of things, and... I knew I couldn't just pick the game up and just play it. It's not a very casual game. So I didn't play it properly again until maybe middle of last year, just randomly. I just decided, I'll just install it again, because why the hell not? I think I got to chapter 2, stopped again for a few months, went back to the first one, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'm going to finish the first one again, and then I will actually finish the second. I didn't think I was going to finish this before the end of the year, and then I'm
surprised, actually. You've done well to finish it, given
there was a few late nights.
The feeling toward it.
Well, that's the thing, because I can comfortably say, as I was writing up my notes, because I know I labelled the first game probably my favourite Rockstar game. This might be better. I think it's better.
Admit it.
Yeah, to be honest, it's actually... The negatives I had became positives the more time I spent in the game, because, like I say, it is asking you to spend a lot of time in this world. It is the most richly sort of populated setting, I think, of any Rockstar game, but really of any open world game. I mean, even yesterday when I was playing it just randomly, running around in Saint Denis trying to get rid of a bounty before people keep on shooting me. Bloody lawman. And I literally just went to the theatre. I just sat in there for 20 minutes, and I was like, any other game I'd be bored stiff, but this is actually quite fun, because it's the definition of Rockstar pulling out all the punches, for better or worse, which we'll get to. But overall, this is probably the best game that they've ever done. And I imagine you are probably saying exactly the same thing. For God's sake.
I mean, is it the best game Rockstar done? Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Good boy. Good horse.
I think you've pretty much just nailed it on the head, really. This is probably the best game Rockstar have ever done. They've pretty much just pulled out everything, and it isn't a game that I think is just for the casual speedrunners. You really do have to put quite a bit of time into this game to really become so immersed in it, because there is a lot to do in the game. And I'm not just talking campaign-wise. I mean, the campaign is it's brilliant, to be honest. It's the best game I've ever played in terms of a campaign. And it's such an emotional roller coaster. Like it's not even like a straightforward roller coaster. Like there's that many dips.
Dips and rises everywhere.
There's dips and rises everywhere. It's to the point of where you're going to feel nauseous because of how up and down you're going. But yeah, this is 100% the best thing Rockstar have ever done.
I mean, in terms of the development of the game, I'll be brief because we have covered bits and bobs of this when we covered Red Dead 1, because there is a lot of rinse and repeat.
Yes.
So it was developed over approximately 8 years, literally like shortly after the release of the first game. Rather than what the first game did, which very much harkened to film and TV in terms of developing the world, Rockstar decided, no, let's actually make this feel authentic to reality. So there's less of a reliance on like trying to feel like an old Western from the 50s or the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Which definitely helps the game overall. Budgeted between 370 and 540 million.
Yeah, isn't it like one
bucks.
of the most expensive video games ever made?
Yep. And
I mean, I don't know how it's going to compare to what this new Grand Theft Auto is, because I think this new Grand Theft Auto is going to be the most expensive game ever.
I'm sure I've heard at least some sort of billion, which is just stupid.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Yeah. And naturally, much like any Rockstar release, there was a lot of criticism labelled towards the working environment of the game, unpaid overtime, all that sort of stuff. We've already gone into it before. I can't really be bothered to go into it again, other than...
Yeah, it is pretty much just the same sort of story as it what is sadly now what feels like a normal thing with Rockstar, actually.
Yeah, it's one of those things like... yes, the game is absolutely spot on when it's released, but you can't shy away from the fact that exactly, it's made in really crappy circumstances. But like I said, we've spoken about that before. I'm sure if we did end up talking about GTA 6 whenever it releases and we have to buy up our own gold bars to play it
in the year 2043, and you've got to put a mortgage on your house to afford the special edition of it.
I was just gonna go with the basic edition, to be honest, where you just
you're still gonna have to put a mortgage for it. Let's be real.
A car and a knife and nothing more. But yeah, let's get into a slightly more filled discussion of Red Dead 2. I'll say upright, we're not going to be talking through every single major bit. At least I'm not. There's certainly certain characters
because we would be here for like however long the campaign is meant to be.
And exactly. And considering I've had one playthrough since I started it in 2018 and finished it in 2025.
The question is, though, are you going to play through it again?
Don't know. Probably, but in a very long time, because it will take me a very long time, I imagine. Okay, I want to address actually the bit that I was more on the fence with, beyond questioning if this was the best game the Rockstar
I thought you were going to go with a different direction there. I thought you were going to go with, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the moose.
I've got nothing to say on the moose, because I still haven't encountered the moose. I have done well to avoid those horns.
What a son of a bitch.
Yeah. No, the bit that I was the most on the fence with, and it wasn't until, I think, after getting back from Guarma, and that is Arthur Morgan as our protagonist. Because initially, I couldn't care less, frankly. And I think my logic with this, because I think one of the things I didn't like immediately when I heard that Red Dead 2 was going to be a prequel was we were going to be seeing the Vandalin gang as like an actual gang and not the remnants that you see in the first game. And obviously playing Arthur, who is not in the first game, I'm stubbornly going with the mindset of, right, I don't need to care that much because I know how this is going to go. Which... that's always going to be an uphill battle for any prequel, because it has to work doubly hard to justify its own existence beyond... let's just see how things are set up for the first game, which by all accounts, by the end of Epilogue 406, 2.
Epilogue 406
is what it occasionally felt like. It does end with setting up major beats for the first game to then pick up on.
Yeah.
And as a protagonist, Arthur is far more passive, I think. If I'm going to go into my filmmakery brain, once again for a video game, he is the kind of protagonist where things don't happen to him, they happen around him. Whereas with John in the first game, he has got an actual mission and he is set on it for the entire game, whereas Arthur is just sort of looking around being like, I don't know what to do right now, in that in that southern drawl of an accent.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I've never really thought about it in that respect.
You're
because yeah, I mean, it's I'm just severely autistic about dinosaurs. Maybe you're just severely autistic about film. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, could be. I've never really seen it as that, actually, but now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it is absolutely... Everything happens around the guy. It's not at him. Whereas in the first one with Marston, it is literally all about him.
Which I bet you were loving once I finally got to Guarma, and you're like, he's going to have to start to theorize what happens to Arthur before the end of the game. And again, like, I had made the assumption he's probably going to get got. It was just a question of how. And then as soon as he goes into a doctor's office,
yeah, as soon as he mentioned you were on that bloody tropical hellhole, I was like,
oh dear. Yeah.
Oh dear.
And as soon as the doctor's like, yeah, it's TB, and you're like, I mean, it's 1899. I bet there's like a surprise cure for this. No, that's not how it works. So, and as soon as he starts coughing as well, and I'm like, oh no. Just, no. I'm going to watch him choke to death. Is that it?
It then just stops being passive, doesn't it? And then it's like...
Yeah, it's like, I actually have to do something now, because if I don't do it now, no one else is going to do it. But what Arthur's doing, as you see the Vandalin gang just completely descend into anarchy because of Dutch going absolutely insane... very, very subtly, I will say, actually. It's not like a sudden like light switch and suddenly he's a maniac. It's actually just a bit scarier, I think, as we go into Dutch and stuff. Because, I mean, with Dutch in the first game, I didn't have much of an interest, to be honest, because it's him at the very end of his life and there's nothing there. Seeing that actual fall... It actually reminded me, while I didn't play the game, it was when I watched the playthrough of...
So here's a question. When do you think in the game that Dutch snaps, so to speak?
I'm sure there's an accident where it's something as simple as he just bangs his head. I'm sure it's just something like that, and it's... You could almost assume it's like brain damage, and things just start to fall piece by piece. And then obviously being trapped on Guarma for however long it is, feels like 17 years. It's probably about like an hour or two. Plot twist, I didn't like the Guarma stuff. I didn't really care.
No, I think that is probably the only bit in the game I don't really like in terms of campaign. It's just a little tedious.
But
it's a little too long-winded, and I just want to be off the island and just go back to Saint Denis.
But no, it was like, I mean, seeing his descent is exactly the same as what I saw with...
See, I think he snaps after Hosea gets killed.
Yeah, I think so.
And then obviously you've got the escape into... that tropical hellhole, which has probably just exacerbated his mental well-being, because he literally... I mean, well, I suppose you could say it is on the island where he really just changes, because he kills some random old lady.
Yeah,
like a tour guide. He just kills her.
That's like the thing with them all.
But Arthur's like, how do you know she was going to betray you? It was in the eyes. It was like, okay, the red flag,
yeah, there's
everybody.
almost like a feeling of you don't actually want this to happen, and it's weird because I mean, in the first game you don't like Dutch at all. He's just like an absolute monster, and it's then seeing that descent here. It's exactly like what it was when that first PS4 Spider-Man game did Doc Ock. And it's done so well in that because you're actively begging them to not have him snap because he's such a good character and you don't want to see him fall. And it's exactly the same thing here where it's like, no, can we not bang your head, please? Like, because even though you're all...
Can we not bang your head? Could we not kill the nice tour guide?
Because what I didn't expect was that I did really come to care a lot for the entire gang as a whole. Because it's essentially like a family, basically. And seeing it spiral out of control and seeing person after person dropping, and especially when you get back from Guarma and you're like, I am like begging for no one else to die now because I'm legitimately spooked.
Yeah, because I mean at that stage it's pretty much like bare bones, really. And then you kind of, I mean for me anyway, I don't know about you, but I was like trying to sort of pinpoint who was going to be next.
But what I like is that, you know, the third act of the game, while it does have, bar the epilogue, bar that big fight on the refinery, which is an awesome mission. I think it's absolutely, you know, like it's up there with the raid on the Braithwaite mansion, which I also thought was really cool.
I think those two missions are probably my favourite through the campaign because it's just such a badass cinematic. Like when you've got the whole gang riding towards Braithwaite Manor in the night, it looks
it's
so
just
cool,
like the few reminders when this entire gang is like all together, and then completely falls apart. But what I like with Arthur is that what he's essentially trying to do for the rest of the game as he's dying is trying to encourage everyone he can to get out completely, which is just tragic, to be honest. It's not like
that's when the feels just begin to hit. I think there's like a I mean I don't know how many of the like stranger encounters and strands he did, but it's funny when, because I didn't actually realise this on the first time I did this, because again I was just more interested in actually completing the game than doing all the bits and bobs to it. But there is there's like a stranger strand in Saint Denis, and it involves basically helping out this church, and you meet this nun, and like towards the end of the game you meet her at a train station or something like that, and he just confesses that he's scared, and I was just like, I was actually tearing up, because he was like, I think he says it like I guess I'm afraid, and I was just like, oh my god, Arthur.
No,
please.
Absolutely.
Please, buddy.
That's like that. Like you start off the game, and I think even Rockstar did this very smart in that he basically did the reverse of what you do with most of these games and stories, and I like it when things do this, in that you start.
It just doesn't play out like a typical gunslinger game. Like you think it's just all about but it's not. The game actually encourages you to be a good person.
No, exactly, because he starts out as the strongest of his version of the character, and then when it ends, he's at his weakest, and you're used to it being the other way around, especially in these kind of games, even with John to a certain extent, even before he's riddled with bullets, in the kindest way possible. Whereas Arthur starts out as he's like the second in command of the gang, and by the end he feels like he's just an absolute shrivel of a person in that sort of sense. So as you are getting towards the end, and like I knew there was 6 chapters, so by the time I got into chapter 6, and I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. But it was at that point that I was pulling in more hours on the game as a whole, and then getting into
I think that's sort of where like it really kind of grabs you, because you're just like, I should probably take a break, but I just want to see what happens.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to I don't want to do it for like another day because I could be this close. I could be this close.
Yeah.
And then once you get back to the camp, most people are gone, and then you realize, oh god, I'm actually in the end game now, and just that chase through the forest and then up the mountain, that final goodbye with Arthur and John, and Arthur gives John his hat. And to be honest, initially I did think, hang on a second, have we always been wearing the hat that John wears in the first game? You don't actually. I think it is a different one. But even his satchel in the first game, retroactively, is revealed to be Arthur's. And I remember just like really getting emotional there. I was like, no, we're not doing this.
Do you know the bit that just broke me the first time? It's, again, towards the end game, but you've got, I think it's when Arthur gets Abigail and Jack out.
Yeah.
And you've got the ride, and then you've got the score. I can't remember the guy who's done it, but it is like the singular saddest song you ever listened to. And you've, like, again, the more good stuff you do with all the interactions you come across in Red Dead Redemption 2, it all plays back, which is so cool. And because you're in like the cinematic, you can't help but just sit there and you're like, holy crap, I'm gonna cry.
No,
like, Jesus, it absolutely broke me. And then you've got that mountain bit as well. That on top was just the icing on the cake, my friend.
Yeah. And I didn't realise until I'd looked it up that the way that Arthur goes out is different depending on your honour level. So if you're low honour,
yes,
you just get beaten to a pulp.
Well,
as far as I know,
you actually get shot in the head, believe it or not.
Oh, great.
So there's no fisticuffs or Micah.
Right.
So you don't get your chance at redemption. So he just straight up puts a bullet in your head if you've got really low honour. And I've always loved the honour stuff in this game.
Yeah.
Like, the bad honour, your spirit animal is the wolf. Whereas if it is good honour, it's something innocent like the deer.
So that explains what that is. Because, especially when we're having years in between, I just completely forgot. I was like, why has he got a Patronus? Like, what even is this?
Oh my god.
I've either ruined it or made it even better. I don't know which one.
You've ruined it. You've absolutely ruined it.
I'm pretty sure I googled it and it still didn't give us a proper reason.
So yeah, if you've got low honour, you see glimpses of Sirius Black.
I like the sound of that.
and if you've got a high honour, you see James and Potter's.
Yeah.
Animagus.
There you go. But no, naturally, because I was kind throughout most of the game, because I just like being kind in this game where you're an outlaw.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like, I really wanted to do like like 2 different playthroughs of just completely low honour and completely high. I've always done high honour.
Yeah.
Because I just think it plays out so much better if it... Well, actually, here's another thing.
Oh.
So in the epilogue, when you go to Saint Denis to meet Charles, obviously you discover he's a fighter. Depending on Arthur's honour status, Charles actually makes a remark to it as well.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, if you have really high honour, Charles will say that he was a good man. But if your honour's sort of in the middle, he'll say he was a good man, but... And then obviously if it's low honour, he wasn't a good man.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting that can...
It actually has an effect on the game.
Yeah.
It's not just a little dial.
It's not just one of these things for an achievement. It actually has impact on the game as well. I mean, I think you get like... I mean, mine was stupidly high on. I think I maxed it out.
I definitely did.
And you know, you got like loads of discounts, all this stuff. But it works on low honour as well. Like, people fear you, so they just give you discounts because they don't want to be shot.
Fair enough. But yes, I mean, like, because I had high honour, he gets to watch, it's either the sunset or the sunrise, I forget which one, I think it's sunset.
Yes.
Which, yeah, at that point, I did have to pause, and I was actively crying. And I was like, how dare this game actually do what I thought it was never going to do?
And then you've just got the May I Stand Unshaken in the background. It's just like,
yeah.
Christ, Rockstar, why? Why are you doing this to me?
No, absolutely. Talking about the epilogues, because I've seen very mixed responses to this, and
Oh, you mean Ranch Simulator 2?
Right, here's the thing, okay? If I'm going to get very, very critical, the entire epilogue exists purely to just build the goddamn ranch.
Yeah.
And yes, the best mission in the entire game
Do you know what still makes me laugh?
Building the ranch.
It's the fact you are on about the bloody, that there is like a whole mission just set to building up the friggin' house, and there is legitimately a golden medal for not screwing up the nails, hammering the nails in, and you still managed to fuck it up.
Well, because I didn't realise I had to actually join in. I just thought it was a fucking cutscene. But no, it's like, no, hammer the nail. And it's like, really? Oh, okay. Bloop. Silver. And it's like, well, screw you, Rockstar.
I thought it was a cutscene.
Yeah, it's like, I'm never going to 100% this game, especially because when I get to that point, I will forget again. Because I have to play the entire game. Like, honestly. No, so in many ways, the epilogues, unlike with the first game, where it almost kind of like doubles down on the theme of revenge isn't going to solve anything.
Yeah.
This game doesn't really have that too much. It does cap off the stuff that is left when Arthur's killed, that being what the hell's going on with Micah. Which I didn't know any of that was going to happen. I legitimately thought, because I couldn't remember if Micah was even in the first game. I straight up could not remember. But then I thought, when you get to Dutch running away, essentially, leaving Micah to kill Arthur, I immediately thought, this doesn't feel like a natural ending even for him. I feel like there has to be more that's going on. So I was actually legitimately surprised when, as Arthur and you're with Charles and Sadie, which, by the way, Sadie is one of the best characters in the game. I think she's absolutely awesome.
100%.
Love her to bits. So I was consistently worried. I was like, do not kill her. You're not allowed to kill her.
I must say...
Oh, no.
Here's where my pet peeve is.
Oh, dear.
Now, I don't know if it's just me just sinking so much time into the game that I became sloppy.
It could just be you.
But that last mission, where you go up the snowy mountain, it just feels like there are enemies left, right, and centre. Like, you just have barely enough time to even get a breath of air.
Yeah.
I died a lot, and it just annoyed me so much.
I think it was just the sniper that was annoying me. I think after that, I just about dealt with it.
Like, do you know what it is? I could deal with some of them, but then as I got further up, there were just enemies left, right, and centre. Like, there was ones on top of the cliff, there was ones on the left, the right. It was just so annoying. Like, if it wasn't me getting killed, it was freaking Sadie getting killed because she decided to be Rambo.
Which isn't even a terrible idea, to be honest.
So I think I ended up just like, oh, do you know what it is? I'm getting too pissed off with this. Just skip.
Yeah.
I just want to kill the guy already.
No, absolutely. So I was legitimately shocked when Dutch actually turns up, and barely has a thing to say at all, which I actually really like, because I think from my perspective, he hasn't quite become sort of like
the monster in making.
Yeah, because like both versions of Dutch, whether it's in the main game and in the first game, he talks a lot. One of them makes sense, the other one doesn't. This is almost like Dutch is like right in the middle, and he's like teetering on the edge of which one he's actually going to be. So even when he's got nothing to say, and he's the one that shoots Micah, I was like, oh, right, okay. Once again, John isn't allowed to do anything. He's not allowed to kill the one he's meant to, whether it's Micah in the second
do you know what it is?
or Dutch
that
in the
is
first.
probably the most satisfying thing in that game, especially when you've done the game again, and then you realise what a little scurrying little rat that he is.
No, absolutely.
And you're just like, oh, I have played this game for so long, and now is my time.
Yeah. So I still actually really like the epilogue stuff. Even the stuff that's just a bit more downtimey, like even just going fishing.
Do you know what I just love that Abigail. I actually feel really sorry for Abigail.
Yeah.
In the epilogue, because she just wants John to be a normal person. Like, why do you have to go after Micah? It's done.
Yeah, exactly. And
but it's revenge.
Exactly.
Like that is what has consumed the gang. It's all about revenge. It's literally redemption. The game is called Red Dead Redemption.
No, exactly. And it still drills on the idea of like your past is not going to stay in the past. It will come back to bite you, and it's just a question of how you actually deal with it. You either deal with it the John Marston way, or you do it the Abigail way, which for her is just let's just lay low and just start a new life. And you do see that in the first epilogue, and it's actually quite sweet. What's your favourite moments then?
It's just how the game plays out, and I think it's just the choice you make throughout the game, where you find out that Jack's been kidnapped by the Braithwaites and given to Angela Bronte in Saint Denis, and then you've just got the gang riding to Braithwaite Manor. The battle at the oil fields with all the Rain Falls' son. Yeah, that is so cool as well. Here's where it gets dark. You've got the Saint Denis bank robbery, so this is where, to me, Dutch snaps, and the game changes quite dramatically from here on out. And then fourth, you've got Arthur's last ride. You've got. I'm trying to actively remember what the hell. That's the way it is. I don't know who it's by, but you've got that song playing, and you've got all the flashbacks of what you've done throughout the game.
It could easily get cheesy with that particular one when it does the flashbacks throughout the game, but I thought, you know what, actually, you've earned it because I actually care. I mean, I think for me, one of my favourite sort of like strands with Mary Linton, those missions, well, I say missions, they're not, they're just like, moments. Like, the one that I did really love is when you both go to a show.
Oh yeah, I think that is, on top of like the end game stuff, I think it is just so heartbreaking.
Yeah. And it's the fact that you both want it to work. It's like you can see that John and Abigail have made it work with them, like they've got a kid and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's Arthur with Mary, and it's like you want that to work. And it's at that point that even when she is like about to get on the tram or the
train car,
and she does basically just say like, "You could just come with me."
Come with me.
And I wish there was a version of that story where Arthur is like
so hesitant though.
Exactly,
and I think that's what makes it so emotionally damning.
Yeah.
It's like you can see he wants it, but he just turns and says like, "No, I can't because I'm an outlaw."
So I was actively welling up at that point. I thought that's actually really sweet. And I think what did it for me even more is when you do the flashes in the end credits after the second epilogue, and you get the little hints towards the first game, and you do see Mary at Arthur's grave, and I really did just start to get really upset again. I was like, God damn it.
I think it's again it's toward the end game where you actually get a letter from her.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not surprised that you didn't come with me, all this stuff, and it's just like, oh, you don't understand. You just don't understand. The game just knows how to put you on an emotional roller coaster. No, it really does.
Like, absolutely, and that does, that's why I said this is probably Rockstar's best game. And to be honest, for a game that I didn't think I was gonna love at all, or even finish, let alone finish chapter 1, it has become one of my favorites. Just full stop. And as much of an emotional roller coaster it is, it's nice to kick off the year with talking about something that is actually really good. Despite the circumstances which we will not talk about because we already have before. Stupid Rockstar, we do not like Rockstar. Bad, naughty Rockstar. Like, start treating your staff with some goddamn respect. Like, absolutely. My God, because going into GTA 6, I'm going to be so passive-aggressive. Like, well, you know what? This would have been better if you just treated people nicely. Quite frankly. That is our thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2, our first episode for 2026. So I really hope you enjoyed that one. We enjoyed talking about it. This is going to be a fun one to trim down. I'm not going to lie. I'm not keeping this to like an hour, as is what is currently being shown on my recorder. But yes, so one of the things I quite appreciated with doing episodes towards the end of last year is that there was, like a nice bit of a break in between episodes, so we weren't doing an episode every single weekend, because my God, was that taxing. So there'll only be one other episode in January, and that will be our best and worst of 2025. And like I said, I'm not looking forward to Dan's list. I'm not. I'm really not. Because
he means that deadly serious as well. Like,
well, here's the thing, because you said there's one that. Here's the thing. Just to get some, I mean, I'll probably not keep this in the actual episode, but you said there's one thing that's on your list that I've categorized as literally one of the worst. Is that on your 100%. Worst bit, or is it on something that you don't mind? Because if it's,
I don't mind.
Right. So that means I know exactly what bloody film it is. I know exactly which one it is.
Do you really, though? Do you really?
This is actually going to become... The next episode will become the world's first ever snuff episode of a podcast. There is going to be a live death, which is not even live. So no pressure. Feel free to change us before I poison your veer.
Good grief.
No one else can hear that, so that's fine. But yes, we will be back later on in January with our best and worst of 2025. So we'll see you then, and until then, it is goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.